So what if the whole path to healing isn't about becoming some brand new person, but actually about finding the courage to come back to the person you've always been? That's the powerful idea we're going to dive into today, this incredible journey back to your true, authentic self.
And this quote from Richard Darnone, wow, it just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? The source material we're looking at argues that, yeah, addiction takes a physical and mental toll, for sure. But its deepest wound, it's spiritual. It's not just about damage. It's about being fundamentally disconnected from who you really are.
Okay, so how does that separation even happen in the first place? Well, that's what we're getting into in our first section. It's all about what our source calls the soul's signal call, that first little whisper that tells you you've wandered off your true path. I mean, think about it, right? From the time we're little kids, we learn to wear masks. You know the drill. You play the role of the good student, the tough guy, the people pleaser, whatever it takes to fit in, get approval, or just hide the stuff that hurts. And with every one of those performances, we're just adding another layer, covering up who we really truly are. It's a survival tactic, no doubt, but man, it comes with a heavy price.
And that disconnection, it creates this void inside, a really deep spiritual emptiness. The source material suggests that this is exactly where addiction swoops in. It rushes to fill that empty space, offering a cheap imitation of the real stuff our souls are starving for, like belonging, purpose, and a real, honest-to-God connection to life.
So this leads to a pretty radical way of looking at things. What if addiction isn't some moral failure that we have to fight with shame and brute force? What if, instead, we saw it as a desperate signal call from our own spirit, like a deep internal cry for help, asking to be reconnected? Just that one shift in perspective, it changes the whole conversation. It moves it away from shame and into a space of deep, compassionate listening.
All right, so if addiction is a signal call, then what's jamming the frequency? What's blocking that signal from getting through? That's what brings us to our next section, the weight of secrets. We're going to look at the internal barriers that keep all those masks we talked about locked firmly in place.
And this is that internal conflict that so many of us live with every day. It's that painful gap between the polished, put-together person we show the world and the real person we are on the inside. According to the source, it's secrets, shame, and fear that create this massive divide. It's like your inner and outer worlds are singing two totally different songs, and that clash, that's what fuels all the turmoil inside.
But where do these personas even come from? It's not like we just pull them out of thin air. No, they're actually built on something very specific, and usually it's totally hidden from us. They're built on a foundation of these deep-seated, false core beliefs we have about ourselves.
And here's what those shadows actually sound like in our heads. Things like, I am not worthy of love or respect. Or, if people saw my true self, I'd be completely rejected. Or, I have to earn my value. Mistakes mean I'm unworthy. Something is just fundamentally wrong with me. But here's the thing, these are not truths. The source has this really powerful name for them, trauma echoes. They're just the lingering sounds of old wounds that we've mistaken for our current reality. And man, do they block out the light.
But, and this is a big but, here's the turning point. Those stories, they do not have to be your destiny. And that brings us to the most empowering part of this whole journey, rewriting the story.
And listen, this is a really critical point. Healing is not about fixing something that's broken inside you, because you're not broken. It's an act of remembering. It's about gently peeling back all those layers of roles and false beliefs to find that whole, complete person that has been there all along.
So, okay, how do we actually start that journey back home? Well, the process starts by gently, and I mean gently, questioning those old beliefs. Then it's about practicing honesty, which is a total act of courage, by the way. First with yourself, and then with people you really trust. It's about learning to trust that you're held in this struggle, and most importantly, letting yourself heal in the light of compassion. You see how this perspective just changes the whole game? Healing stops being this passive thing of just getting better, and it becomes an active, dynamic process of creation. That old script, the one filled with all those trauma echoes, you can just set it aside because you are the author. You are holding the pen, and you have the power to write a brand new story for your life, one that's rooted in your real, authentic truth.
And that brings us to our final section, where we look at the incredible outcome of this journey, returning to the light.
Here's a simple but really profound idea. Choosing authenticity is a sacred act. I mean, think about it. In a world that is constantly screaming at us to perform, just choosing to be real,
That takes incredible spiritual courage. It's about getting your inner world and your outer life to finally match up. And when they do, our source suggests you create this incredibly powerful, even sacred space inside yourself.
And this famous idea from Marianne Williamson just perfectly captures the amazing ripple effect of all this. See, this journey to be authentic is not just for you. It's like the quote says, when you find the courage to let your own light shine, you unconsciously give other people permission to do the exact same thing. Your freedom becomes an invitation for others to be free too. It's a gift to yourself, yeah, but it's also a gift to the entire world. And at the end of the day, this is the transformation we're talking about. As you start to reconnect with your real self, the need for that substitute, the addiction, it just starts to fade away. That emptiness that used to fill, it's now being filled with something genuine, something nourishing, a real connection to yourself, to other people, and to life itself.
So, we'll leave you with this final question from the source material, something to really carry with you. After all the masks are gone, beneath all the old stories, and beyond the fear, who are you, really, when you finally let your light shine?